Fear tingles down your spine and hairs stand on end. Mysteries unknown and tales in the dark. Are you ready? Hello? Hi, welcome to Nightly Haven. Tonight we're going to dive into the creepy world of stalkers. I actually had a stalker in 8th grade. Sometimes it starts with something as simple as kindness. I was in 8th grade when it began. There was a boy in our group, awkward, quiet, always getting picked on, and I felt bad for him. So I was kind. I never expected that tiny gesture to twist into an obsession. Then the signs started. Feeling of always being watched. He was always everywhere. I felt he was always everywhere I was hanging out with my friends. He would just show up. One night, I'll never forget this. I woke up in the morning and something felt off. So I turned towards the window, and on the 2nd floor, he was watching me sleep through my window. And he didn't even say anything. He just turned around and left. Another night, I snuck out with a friend to go across the street to a friend's house. We were going to have a little small party. And when we were leaving my dad's house, right before we crossed the street, he emerged out of the forest/shadows, not saying anything. He was just standing there in the shadows, his eyes fixed on me, watching me, like he was waiting for something. Later, my dad found our front bushes that were in front of our apartment were toilet papered, and there was a note. It was completely unhinged, rambling threats, and something that still makes my stomach drop when I remember it. He also said, "I'm going to chop off your head." I never saw him again after this. He just kept to myself and stopped hanging out with everyone, and then after that, we moved. So I don't really remember his name because it was so long ago. It was over 20 years ago, but his presence still haunts me. That was the first time I truly understood how fear can live in silence. The first stalker story we're going to cover is the woman in apartment 1B, Michelle Fredenberg. This was in New York City, 2019, CBS News official court documents. Fredenberg was just trying to live her life. She had moved into a modest apartment in Brooklyn, Unit 1B, but she didn't know what her upstairs neighbor, Jason Christopher Hughes, had become obsessed with her. It started subtly, a compliment here, a weird glance there, but soon he began sending threatening emails. When Michelle blocked him, Hughes created over 100 fake email accounts, continuing the harassment. He called her my queen and my captive. He knew her every move. He monitored through social media and possibly even surveillance devices. "I will end you," one message read. Hughes followed Michelle to a new address, and when the FBI arrested him in 2020, they found detailed maps, her schedule, and a hit list. He stalked at least 3 other women for over a decade. Hughes was sentenced to 6 years in prison, but Michelle's trauma lingers because stalking doesn't always end when the stalker's caught. It echoes every creak in the floor and shadow outside your window. The next one we're going to cover is the MySpace obsession. Kara Koptapsky and Kyle Yost is in Belton, Missouri, 2007 and 2017. Records, Dateline, NBC, FBI files. Kara Koptapsky was 17 when she broke up with her possessive ex-boyfriend, Kyler. I don't know if I'm saying that right. It's Kilr, Yost. And he did not take it well. Friends said that Yost would show up at her job. He would wait outside her school. He called and text obsessively. Kara even filed a restraining order telling a judge, "I'm scared he'll hurt me." And then on May 4th, 2007, Kara vanished after leaving school. Her body wasn't found for 10 years. In 2016, another girl, Jessica Runions, also went missing. Police searched the woods near Yus' family property. They found the remains of both women. Yus had stalked, manipulated, and finally murdered both girls. Both was convicted in 2021. Kara's mother, Rhonda Beckford, now speaks out about stalking. Stalking isn't just creepy, it's deadly. The next story is the caller who knew everything, the case of Restricted. Location in Fort Crest, Washington, multiple families. Around 2007, sources from ABC News and the Seattle Times. It started with a phone call. A family would pick up the phone and a voice would repeat what they had just said seconds before. The stalker knew names, schedules, what the kids were wearing, even what they were doing at the moment. One family reported hearing the ringtone on the daughter's phone, but her phone was off. The caller left voicemails saying, "I'm going to slit your throat." Others heard recordings of themselves from earlier that day. Police suspected their phones were hacked or cloned. Verizon and Sprint couldn't explain how the stalker accessed such personal data. Eventually, the calls stopped. Without resolution, the case remained unsolved. To this day, it's whispered in cybercrime circles. What happens when the stalker isn't just outside your window, but in your phone, your camera, or your walls? A fan turned predator. The story of Sandra Bullock. Los Angeles, 2014. Stalker's name was Joshua James Corbett. Police reports and CNN is the sources this comes from. On June 8th, 2014, Sandra Bullock was jolted awake around 1 a.m. She heard something. She checked a security camera and saw a man already inside her home. That man was Joshua James Corbett, an obsessed fan who had been stalking her for months. Sandra Bullock locked herself in her closet and called 911, whispering in fear as police arrived. When Corbett was arrested, he had a notebook filled with disturbing fantasies. One entry read, "I will be one with Sandra." They also found illegal weapons in his home, including over 7 machine guns. Corbett later died by suicide after a standoff with the police. Sandra rarely speaks of the incident, but she told police she believed if she hadn't locked that door, she wouldn't be alive. Then they're still out there, dark and out there. Stalking isn't a movie plot, it's reality. For celebrities, for children, for everyday people. 1 in 6 women and 1 in 17 men will be stalked in their lifetime. And most stalkers aren't strangers. They're classmates, exes, neighbors, friends. So if you ever feel like you're being watched, you might be. Lock your door. Trust your gut. And remember, kindness is powerful, but boundaries are everything. So have a good night, spooky friends. Bye.